Hey, what's up? Welcome to Free Advice Friday. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I had an opportunity to do one of these Free Advice Friday live streams. There's been some stuff going on. Last week I was sick. I'm also in the midst of the single largest e-learning project that I've ever taken on. And I had a 30-day deadline to get it done, but because I'm going on vacation soon, I'm actually trying to get it done in 2 weeks. So I'm literally trying to basically voice an audiobook that should take about 30 days, but trying to get it done in 2 weeks. And so that's kept me busy for a couple weeks. And then I fell behind schedule because I got sick, whatever. Lots of stuff going on anyway. That's why Free Advice Friday hasn't happened for a minute. But I am here today because I've got to get that training program done today. I told them I would deliver today. I can only stick around for about half an hour today, but I didn't want to miss Free Advice Friday for 3 weeks in a row. So I'm here. We're going to hang out. We're going to do this for about half an hour. And I am here to answer your voiceover business and marketing related questions, and happy to answer any questions that you may have. AJB says, greetings from smoggy Louisville. Thank you, Canada. Yes, we have spent all week under air quality advisories here. Yesterday was particularly hazy where I'm at, and you could smell it in the air. And, you kind of get that little tickle in your throat a little bit, which is great when you're in the midst of a monster voiceover project to have terrible air quality. So that's always fantastic. But welcome, John. Welcome, Natalie. Welcome, Stephen. Welcome, Catherine. Julie, thank you guys for coming and for hanging out. So as always with Free Advice Friday, I am here to answer your questions. So if you have a voiceover business and marketing related question that you would like to get answered, this is your opportunity to get that done. So feel free, if you have a question, type that question into the comments. I'm keeping an eye on those comments as best as I can, and I'm certainly happy to answer questions for you as we go along. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the summer series of the podcast. It's been a lot of fun to do these episodes and bringing voice actors in, giving them a chance to ask a question. I know that if one person is wondering whatever their question is, there's a whole bunch of other voice actors out there that are wondering the same thing. And so I really believe that even though I'm answering questions for an individual, I know the advice that is given in those episodes are going to be things that are going to be helpful to everyone. Now, if you haven't caught it yet, the brand new episode that came out yesterday, Francis Cox came on the show, and he wanted to know, how do you connect with the right person? What happens when you send an email to a company and you get a response back that says, I'm not the right person, but I'll pass your information on to the person who is? What do you do at that point? Is there anything that you can do at that point? And that is the question that I answer in the latest episode of the podcast. So, of course, that episode is available at vopreneur.com or wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. So keep an eye out for that. Some really great stuff being covered in the summer series episodes. Natalie says, is commercial the most lucrative genre to focus our marketing on? Natalie, this is a great question. And I think that answer is going to be different for every voice actor. I can tell you, for me personally, e-learning, by a very wide margin, e-learning is my most lucrative genre. It also happens to be a genre that I really, really enjoy doing, and so I have no problem focusing my attention there. So I do think that the voice actor comes into play. I do commercial work. I don't do a lot of commercial work. And I will be the first person to admit that commercial is a genre of voiceover that I have struggled with heavily because I can't get rid of my old radio habits. It's a struggle that I have had for years. And at the same time, it became very apparent to me early in my career. I went full time in 2012. It became very apparent to me early in my career that some of the non-broadcast genres, the e-learnings, the corporates, the explainers, that's where my money was coming from. And so that's where I focused my efforts, because that's where my money was coming from. Now, talk to another voice actor and they're going to tell you by a wide margin commercials where they make their money. Talk to another voice actor, they're going to tell you video game. Talk to another voice actor, they're going to tell you animation. Talk to another voice actor, they're going to tell you audiobooks. So I really don't believe that there is one right answer to the question. Is commercial the most lucrative genre to focus our marketing efforts on? Because I think it depends a lot on the individual talent. Not everybody is cut out for commercial. Not everybody enjoys commercial. And so think about where your expertise lies, what your skill set is. Think about any advice or guidance that you've got from coaches that you've worked with in the past. Maybe they've directed you towards a particular genre. Think about what you love, because that's the other thing. I love doing e-learning. I really do. And so to market to e-learning is fun for me because I can't wait for the next opportunity. And so I really do think that the genre that you're going to make the most money in is going to depend a lot on you. And I think that it is going to vary from talent to talent. AJB says, I did just purchase your subject line file thing. Thank you for that. I'm glad that you were able to pick that up. If you haven't seen it yet, the VOpreneur Ultimate Subject Line Reference Guide. This is a brand new product that I have on the website at VOpreneur.com. What you're going to get with this download is 5 different themes that you can use as a launching point for coming up with subject lines for your marketing emails. But you're also going to get 40 pre-written subject lines that you could literally start using this afternoon. And this thing is cheap. $27 to pick up this download. It's available now for instant download at VOpreneur.com. If you are struggling, if you have ever struggled with writing subject lines for your marketing emails, don't struggle anymore. Grab this subject line reference guide. Again, it's available at VOpreneur.com. You'll see it. It's right there on the home screen. In fact, if I switch this over, you can see this is VOpreneur.com. There it is, right there. Stop stressing about subject lines. Buy the guide, and you can pick it up. $27, and that is available now for instant download. So thank you for picking that up, AJB. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. All right, John says, regarding email marketing, how do you keep emails going to the keep emails from, I'm assuming, how do you keep emails from going to the recipient's spam folder? There's a few different things that can come into play here when it comes to trying to keep the emails out of spam. One of them, I think, does depend on the subject lines that you use, and there are certain words that you shouldn't be using in subject lines. One of the factors is your email's overall score. And if you don't know what the score is for your email, let me encourage you to go to Brad Newman's helpful resource. Let's bring that up, shall we? Brad Newman created a resource actually after being on the podcast, and it is mailchecktool.com. Mailchecktool.com. Put in your name, put in your email address, put in your email service provider, click the button, boom, done. It's going to check your email and tell you if there are any issues with your email. Is it set up properly? Is the DNS, all this technical stuff that I don't understand. That's one of the factors. I also think that how you send your email makes a difference. If you are including attachments in your email, that can potentially trigger spam filters. If you have embedded links in your emails, that can potentially trigger spam filters. What do I mean by embedded links? When I say give my demos a listen, I say give my demos a listen at markscottvoiceover.com. And I literally type out markscottvoiceover.com. If you say you can listen to my demos on my website, click here, and you don't show the URL, you just show the words click here, that is an embedded link. That is much more likely to potentially trigger spam filters. If you are using tracking pixels in your emails, that is something that can potentially trigger spam filters. So not all of these things are a guarantee, but they are factors that can influence whether or not your email lands in spam. So those are some things that I would absolutely be thinking about. Let's pull this up again. I'm going to pull up the website. We're going to go to the podcast. And back a while ago, when did I do it? Let me find the episode because I'm not 100% sure when I did it. Maybe it's not. Maybe I haven't moved it over to the new website yet. Here we go. How to keep your emails out of spam with Brad Newman. It's episode 184 of the podcast. How to keep your emails out of spam. That's an episode of the podcast that you might want to go back and listen to. because Brad actually gives a lot of really great advice in that episode of the podcast. So I just threw that one into the chat if you'd like to check that out. Great question. Hopefully that gives you a great answer. All right, let's see. Where else are we going? Man, you guys are going crazy in the chat today, trying to keep up with everything. Gustavo says, have you ever received a proposal to voice something against your values or beliefs? What did you do? Did you refuse it? Did you overcharge it? Or if the customer agreed to pay, or did you do the work? No, there are certain things that I will not touch. And I will not touch because of my faith, because of religious beliefs. And there are certain things that I won't touch because I'm just not comfortable talking about the subject matter. And I think when I'm not comfortable talking about the subject matter, I'm not going to deliver as good of a read. And so I think that's certainly a factor as well. And so if I've given the opportunity to audition for something, or if a client comes to me with something that is just not in alignment with me, I'll just tell them straight up. And I will offer, if you want me to help you cast somebody, I'm happy to collect demos for you. I've had that conversation with my agents as well. There are certain things that I just don't want to talk about. And I think that's okay. I think that we should be allowed to have certain things that we don't want to discuss. I know some people will just, they'll do anything as long as there's a paycheck in it. And that's fine. If you're comfortable with that, by all means. Some of us aren't. That's okay too. And so I do have some certain things that I won't do, and that's the way that I handle it. All right. Again, guys, if you do have a question that you would like to ask, if you could just do me a favor, if you could just put a Q beside that question when you're typing it into the comments, that makes it just a little bit easier for me to find it. It stands out a little bit easier for me in the comments, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the comments right now. So just throw up a Q beside it, and it makes it a little bit easier. All right. Tony says, I'm new to marketing. What does an average daily marketing session for a voice actor look like? Do I need a bunch of special software to do this effectively? Tony, great question. So what marketing looks like for you is going to depend partly on your end objective. If you're working a day job and you have no intentions of leaving your day job because you have a great salary and great benefits, but you want to do voiceover and you want to establish yourself and you want to have a nice little part-time hustle, make a little bit of extra money, maybe that goes into the retirement fund or the vacation fund or whatever, marketing is going to look different for you than if you are someone who wants to build a six-figure business. Marketing is going to be a very different proposal for somebody trying to build a six-figure business. I think if you are trying to build a full-time voiceover business, I have always said that I think you need to be contacting a minimum of 20 people a day. I think if you've already got a business going and you're trying to continue to grow that business, maybe you can set that to 10 a day. But I do think that 50 to 100 new leads a week, I think that's kind of where you want to be if you're trying to grow a business. And I think that you need to do 50 to 100 leads a week consistently for a very long period of time as well. This is very much a numbers game. So it's not like, I'm going to contact 100 people a week for a month and then I'll be a full-time voice actor. No, I was contacting 100 or 200 people a week, and I was contacting 100 or 200 people a week for a couple of years to build the business that I wanted to build for myself. As to the second part of your question, which was about software, do I need fancy software or any special software? I do think that it is to your advantage to use a CRM. I absolutely think that having some sort of a CRM system in place is going to help you with your marketing efforts. That's actually something that I've done a podcast on as well. Let me go back and find the episode that I did on that, because I will refer that to you. Let's see, where was that episode? 10 things to look for in a CRM. Here we go. This is the episode that I did on that. So I'm going to throw that into the comments here. So keep an eye out for that. And again, this is available at vopreneur.com or wherever you enjoy podcasts. You can search the archives and be able to find that as well. But there we go. That's in the show notes there now, or in the comments. 10 things to look for in a CRM. I do think that having that CRM is going to help you to stay organized with your marketing efforts. There comes a point when you're reaching out to people where it's just impossible to keep up with everyone that you have reached out to. And so a CRM makes that a little bit easier. Jonathan says, Mark, didn't know about your experience with e-learning and struggles with commercial, and it's encouraging to hear pros experience finding themselves in their business. Yeah, you know what? When I came from radio, I was a 20-year radio guy. I did morning radio. I did drive radio. I worked at pop radio. I worked at adult contemporary radio. I worked at country radio. I was an announcer. I was everything that you think of when you think of an announcer, because that was the role that I played in my career for a very long time. And that doesn't fly in commercial. And it's really hard to get out of. I struggled. I still coach to try to get out of it. Look, Uncle Roy's in the chat. Ask. He tried to beat the announcer out of me for years. But I was able to find a place for myself in e-learning where it fit. And not that I was an announcer in e-learning. I just didn't have to work as hard to get out of the announcer and work as hard on the acting side of things. And so I found a place that fit for me. And it was in alignment with my personality, because I'm the guy that, if I've got free time, I'm not watching, the latest show on Netflix. I've never seen a single episode of Ted Lasso. I'm going to watch a PBS documentary, or I'm going to read a book, and probably a biography or a business book, because I want to learn all the time. And so e-learning just fit for me, which was another reason why it connected with me so well. So I do think that that's part of it. I think finding the genres that are the right fit for you makes a difference. Natalie says, is emailing VO recording studios, post-production companies still the go-to marketing strategies that most people use? I don't do anything but, Natalie. I can't speak to everybody, obviously. I have not had an active casting site membership in, I don't even know at this point, probably 5 or 6 years. I do have 3 agents, but my agents are absolutely not a lucrative part of my overall annual finances. They're a great place for me to find opportunities or get some auditions, but they're definitely not how I'm building my business. So for me, direct marketing, email, social media, that is absolutely the way that I am building my business. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in on Free Advice Friday. If you're enjoying the program, if you're getting some good advice, would you do me a favor and hit that like button while you're watching? I would certainly appreciate that. Kimberly says, what's the first marketing thing you should do once you complete your demo? You should start marketing, Kimberly. I know that probably sounds sarcastic, but no, that's it. You've got your demo. If you have a website and you have a demo, and you have your demo on your website, then you have the tools that you need to start marketing at that point. And so you should absolutely be putting yourself out there. You should absolutely be starting to contact the appropriate people based on the demo that you have to market with. And keep that in mind. That is very important. You need to market with the demo you've got. So if you've got a commercial demo, you're marketing to companies that create commercials. If you've got an explainer demo, you're marketing to companies that create explainers. If you've got a commercial demo and you're trying to market to e-learning, it's not going to work, because e-learning companies don't care about your commercial demos. So make sure that you are marketing to the companies that are relevant to the demos that you have. Stephen has a question. Can you recommend the best keywords or job titles to search for with e-learning clients? Instructional designer is a really great job title. E-learning developer is a really great job title. The one thing that I would caution you with e-learning, and this is where e-learning does get a little bit tricky, is everybody in e-learning is a instructional designer, or most, right? But that does not specifically mean that they are producing e-learning content that uses voiceover. So what I mean by that is somebody in e-learning with the title of instructional designer could also be somebody who does, I don't know, textbooks, for example. And so that is not the person that you want to hire or that you want to reach out to, is somebody who produces textbooks. So if you're looking for instructional designers, you are going to have to qualify those leads by determining, are they creating content that would require voiceover? And a great way to do that is by looking for keywords like instructional designers who also mention video, or instructional designers who also mention multimedia. Those would be some things that you could potentially do to try to narrow down those search results. If you go back on my YouTube channel and you go to the Free Advice Friday playlist, I actually did a Free Advice Friday a couple of months ago with Christy Bowen. And Christy sat on the show for an hour and answered all the questions that you could want to get answered about e-learning. Christy is absolutely brilliant in the field. She's a brilliant talent. She's a brilliant coach. And man, she gave it all away in that Q&A that we did for Free Advice Friday. So I just threw that into the comments. So take a look for that one. Definitely worth going back and you know, you'll get a lot of your questions answered if you're interested in getting into e-learning. You'll get a lot of your questions answered by checking out that Q&A with Christy Bowen. All right, let's see. David says, hey, Mark, several times I've heard you mention reducing breaths in narration, but I've never heard you say whether you do it manually, one breath at a time, or use a plugin. Let me know. I do it manually. I have played around with the debreather that is part of RX7, RX10. I just didn't find that it worked really great for me. And I'm not like I have good cardio. That's what I like to tell myself. I'm full of crap, by the way, but I like to tell myself that I have good cardio. So I don't have a lot that I have to do anyway, but I do go through and do it manually because I found that when I was using the plugin, it was just reducing things too much, and it was making things sound a little bit funny, you know, at the start and finish of sentences and whatnot. Adrian says, hey, Mark, could you suggest what search I should do if I want to market a political demo? I found some political ad agencies, but would like to do a wider search. Honestly, I think that's probably the place to start. I mean, I'm sure that there are, on a local level, I'm sure that commercial companies, commercial production companies, video production companies are probably doing, or some anyway, are probably doing political advertisements in their local markets, you know, for local candidates and stuff like that. But if you're looking to get into some of the bigger stuff, I think that is probably that you're looking for political agencies. I think that's probably what you're going to be searching for. All right, let's see. Briscoe VO, Mark, is it okay to use my e-learning demo to market to companies that do corporate narration and explainer videos? So the way that I think you can get around this, if you're marketing to more broad-based production companies, so maybe they do some commercial stuff, maybe they do some explainer stuff, maybe they do some corporate stuff, maybe they do some training videos, then potentially you could get away with an e-learning demo if you can see that they're very clearly training. If you can very clearly see that they are doing training content and corporate narration and whatnot. So I think that you've got to be strategic. If it's a production company that doesn't really do training content, they just do commercials or corporate videos, I don't know at that point that I would market to them specifically with an e-learning demo, just because I don't know that it has the same kind of relevance. Jonathan says, say you sent some emails that garnered initial responses, but not initial jobs, but you let it fall away and didn't respond. What do you say when you're reaching out? Hey, we chatted a year ago and I just want to say hi. The one thing I would absolutely not do is mention how long it's been, because I can promise you that they have no idea how long it's been. I can promise you that if you send them a follow-up email, they are not going to go searching back through their inbox and look it up and be like, Jonathan, you reached out to us a year ago. This is so awkward. So you could literally just get away with that by just, hey, it's been a while. Been a while since we last connected. Wanted to check in. That's how I would do it. Just keep it a little bit more generic. Speaking of debreathers, debreather and isotope does not work. It thinks V's and F's and F's are breaths. Waves debreather works better. So there you go. That's why I never had any luck with the one in isotope, and so that's why I kind of go through and do everything manually. But if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a plugin, then you gotta, I guess you're looking for the Waves plugin. So there you go. That's straight from Uncle Roy. Listen to Uncle Roy. Uncle Roy knows what he is talking about. All right, guys, I can stick around for a few more minutes. I do apologize. I got to wrap this one up early today. I have to get this training project that I'm working on. I've got to get it done, and I've probably got about another hour or two that I need to have to get it delivered. And I don't want to be the guy that sends it at 5 o'clock on a Friday as where you head into, well, I mean, for us in Canada, it's a long weekend. Is it a long weekend for you guys for the States? When is July 4th? It's next week. I guess it's Tuesday. So you don't get a long weekend. See, Canada Day is on Saturday. Yay. Yay, Canada. What else is going on? I apologize if I missed your question. I'm trying to keep up. Again, if you've been enjoying Free Advice Friday so far, would you do me a favor and hit that like button? I would certainly appreciate that. Let YouTube know that you enjoy the show. Let YouTube know that you're learning some things. Let YouTube know that you enjoy the broadcast. Please and thank you. Again, as a reminder about the ultimate subject line reference guide. I can tell you the number one question I get asked when it comes to marketing is, what do I put in my marketing emails? The number two question I get asked when it comes to marketing is, what do I put in the subject line? So that is what this guide was created for. It was created so that you don't have to ask that question. Literally 40 pre-written subject lines. With those 40 pre-written subject lines, some of them, you might just use them right as they're written. I suspect, and my hope, is that between the pre-written subject lines and the themes that are referenced in the guide, that is going to inspire you to much easier create your own subject lines without having to stress about it. So again, the guide is available at VOpreneur.com. It's available for instant download. $27, a small price to pay to never have to stress over subject lines ever again. Play the Voice. Congrats on your One Voice nomination. Would you suggest making much of award nominations in your marketing, or is that too vain? No, I think that award nominations are absolutely worth marketing. If you go on to a production company's website, one of the things that you will almost always see is awards, if they've won them or if they've been nominated for them. They add a level of credibility and legitimacy. When some of these companies might be getting marketed to by dozens of voice actors every week, maybe dozens of voice actors every day, I don't know. One of the ways that you can set yourself apart from other talent is if you have an award nomination or an award win. And so I absolutely think that it is worth talking about. I think that there is a credibility that comes along with it. I also think that how you do it matters. I personally have an issue with the "I'm so humbled and proud to have been nominated," because I don't think that you actually are humbled and proud. I don't want to say that you're not. I just think you're excited and you're pumped and you're happy and you're thrilled. And why not just be like, "This is amazing. I'm so freaking excited. I got nominated for the award." Like, if you're going to do it, I think that you absolutely need to do it in a way that is genuine, in a way that is authentic. So certainly keep that in mind. I also think that there are ways that you can do it that demonstrate value to the person that you're reaching out to, right? Oh, you guys are an award-nominated commercial production agency, and I'm an award-nominated voice actor. We should put our skills together and, make great content for our clients or something like that. So I do think how you market it matters, but I definitely think that there is value in marketing it. And yes, congratulations to Uncle Roy, also nominated in that category. What do you think, Uncle Roy? Is this the year that somebody finally beats out Source Connect? I feel like the casting site award is basically the Bidalgo Award, right? Like Armin has literally won that award every year that it has existed. I kind of feel like the Service Provider Award is the Source Connect Award. They've basically won it every year since it's been invented. But still, I do appreciate the award nomination, and the reason why it means more to me, I didn't submit for it. Other people who are part of Gravy for the Brain recommended me for it, and so that definitely makes it a little more special. Gary says, I got the subject line guide. Great stuff. Check it out, VOpreneur.com. Also, if you got nominated and you market the fact that you got nominated, and then in August, when the awards get handed out 2 months from now, if you win, that's another follow-up opportunity, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that either, taking advantage of that. Briscoe says, are there any apps that you use strictly for lead generation? most of my lead generation happens through a freelancer. I have somebody that does lead generation for me, and I've had somebody that does lead generation for me for quite a few years. That being said, I have started playing around with Apollo a little bit. I don't know if any of you guys have checked out Apollo. I'm sure some of you have, but apollo.io is the website. Let me bring this up here. If you haven't checked it out, reach every buyer on earth. And if you go through the initial setup of Apollo and walk through some of the step-by-step things that they ask you to do, I think you can get you can build up to 1,000 or 2,000 credits or something like that. It's a pretty handy little tool. I'm not going to lie. I haven't played around with it a ton, but I've heard some other people talking about it. I've been asked about it a little bit in my coaching. And so I decided to sign up and mess around with it a bit. So that is one thing that I have played around with a little bit for lead generation. So if you've never checked out Apollo, you might want to check that out at apollo.io. All right, everyone. I would love to be able to stick around, and I would love to be able to do Free Advice Friday for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, I can't today. I do apologize. I absolutely have to go and get this project delivered, this training project. I do have Free Advice Friday on the calendar for next Friday, and then I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks for vacation. So I will try my best to keep an hour set aside for next Friday, which is July the 7th. And we'll do the whole show next time around. But thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it, as always. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We recently surpassed 250,000 downloads, which to me is absolutely incredible. And that doesn't happen without you guys, so I'm grateful for that as well. And remember, check out the website, vopreneur.com. You can find out about the podcast. You can find out about Free Advice Friday when it's going to happen. You can get that subject line guide, see some of the other courses and coaching offerings that I have there as well. Everything that you need, some free resources that you can sign up for. It's all at vopreneur.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and for hanging out. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, have fun, stay safe, and as always, go find some leads.